All right. Happy Friday, ladies. Hope you all are doing well. Of course, it is me, Victoria, Coach V, the new love strategist with New Thing Life Coaching. I'm a certified life dating and relationship coach, along with an online dating consultant. I help serious, ready women get out of their own way, right? So, of course, that they can successfully date in modern times and ultimately win at kingdom love. God's love, self love, and real love. You can discover all products and services at newthinglifecoaching.com. While you are there, make sure you subscribe in order to stay in the know of, some different things that are coming up and just to get the, newsletters with tips and inspiration and all that other good stuff. This is going to be very interesting. I took my glasses off because the glare was really, really bothering me. I literally just got my trial pair of contacts to see if we can work out this whole astigmatism thing, but I just was not in the mood for putting them in today. So I can kind of see, I kind of got the worst blown up on my screen right now. A lot of times I go live when I do the video, but again, I've been so annoyed. Y'all, I've been talking about this for a long time now, right? As far as the signal and everything, I didn't feel like dealing with that. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to record the video. Like, it's still Friday, so it still counts as Fresh Face Friday. So I'm like, I'm just going to record it and upload it, and we'll go from there to try to make sure that we do not have any issues. Y'all should be proud of me. I'm growing up. One thing I did go ahead and do is order like an Ethernet cable. Like, I ordered a super long cord so I can just go ahead and just remove all the issues as far as Wi-Fi is concerned, and at least that way go ahead and connect. And we're going to see how that helps. As far as signal, because I don't do a lot of live videos, but of course I do more webinars and stuff like that. So I don't have time for this. I want to make sure that y'all are getting quality, and especially with some things that I have coming up via New Thing Life Coaching over the next couple of months. I don't have time for no interruptions, no disruptions, no foolishness. Of course, all of these things matter to me, but especially with what I have coming up, I wanted to make sure everything was going to be on the up and up. So that's why I'm recording this instead of doing live. I don't have my glasses on. And we're just still going to power on through this. All right. New news. I think I mentioned it last week when I was doing the podcast, but coming up, it is going to be Ascend 21. It is going to be the 21-day self-love level up challenge. It begins June 10th. Because before we officially go into July, I need you to know that you have work that needs to be done now. Like, I need you to have done the work in order to address the 5 phases of self-love that I've spoken about. And I know a lot of us, we always talk about self-love this and self-love that. Self-love is very important. But let me say, when it comes from what I do and where I stand when it comes to coaching, the purpose of self-love is not at all to replace the need for romance, but it's to ensure that when it does come, you do it a little bit better. Like, you know how to love properly, all because you've already identified and worked on some things inside of yourself. I had one of my married friends, and she was asking, like, hey, can I join in on that challenge, or is it just for your single women? I'm like, you can join, because self-love is self-love. I know many people who are in, marriages right now, and they're not doing that great in that area. So I do have a married woman who is going to be joining in as well. But again, it's going to help you whether you're single, dating, in a relationship, or married. This challenge is really going to challenge you to address some things and to make some changes in order to be better in all of your relationships, especially your romantic relationships. So it's 21 days, 21 videos, 21 challenges, $21. Have I lost my mind? No, I have not. I just don't want to hear any excuses. And for something like this that I just feel really, really good about, and something that I've actually been working on for several months now, I know it is something that is so, 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 so necessary. And again, I don't want money to be the reason that anyone can't do it. I know my things are typically, a little bit higher, depending on what it is that someone is doing. But like I don't want to hear no crap. So registration is officially open. You all are literally now the first to know all the rest of the details as far as that, and as far as registration. You can go to bit.ly/ascend 2122 bit.ly/ascend 2122. I will later make an actual event here in the tribe, also on the New Thing Life Coaching Facebook page. I'll probably also do one on my own personal page. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But again, it's $21. So, I mean, the event, whatever. Like, most people will probably, just before you even think about hitting going, you just probably just go ahead and register, and at least you know that it's out the way. Okay. Why am I calling it Ascend 21? And why am I sitting here making this whole thing 21, 22 and saying because, 21 before 22? Because I said that before. First of all, we are in 2021. I know that the year is, almost halfway over. I want to make sure that your second half of 21 is absolutely amazing. And because we know that 21 before 22, like literally the number 21 comes before 22, y'all know how I am with the number 22 because of revelations from God, things that He has spoken to me as far as New Thing Life coaching, as far as me helping women. The number 22 has come up a lot, and especially, a lot of those verses and scriptures and things like that that have to do with marriage, when it has to do with, love and all of these other different things. So that's why we got to address these 21 things before we can really focus on you getting to 22, okay? Fresh Face Friday. Okay, it's where I can do a training video to help my ladies out. I don't know about you all, but I'm sure, well, if you're watching, then probably just based on the title in and of itself, it was something enough that, it made you want to kind of see exactly what the heck I was talking about. I have absolutely been in situations before where I've met a great guy, I met an amazing man, and and things would go well and all of the other good stuff. And it's like, well, at least for a while, they would end up going well. Let me just say that. Um, and I don't say this to sound like I'm bragging or anything like that. I do pretty well when it comes to getting a man's attention. Getting a man's attention has never been a problem for me. Having a man be interested in me has never been a problem for me. Okay. I was previously awful, however, at keeping a man's attention. I could get someone interested in me all day. Again, like I, even said in the event, like I even said on Instagram, like, yeah, we can go based on beauty, we can go based on body, we can go booty, we can do brains, we can do the smile, we can do all of these different things that will cause a man to want to get to know you. And of course, some of these men, they want, to know you for the wrong reasons. I'm amazing at getting a man's attention. Keeping a man's attention, however, is something completely different. And sometimes you find yourself asking, what happened? But things were really going good. Hey, I really thought dude liked me. Like, I don't know why old boy is tripping, like exactly what is going on. And he started to cool on me a little bit. He started to back up. So it's like, what gives and why does that happen? Women know how to get a man's attention, but not keep it. So tonight's topic is keep him interested. Okay. I spoke on online dating and knowing some of you in last week's video and even in this past week's podcast. And one of the things that I mentioned was the need to disclose so many things up front. Like we get eager a lot of times where we want to, mention this and talk about this and make sure we disclose this, we put this disclaimer out there, all of these things, and especially on our dating profiles, but really just in general. Like we do the most sometimes if we are completely honest, right? But I want to tell you why that doesn't work, first of all. And of course, and one of those reasons is just, and sometimes it's like when you give him so much, like it's, yeah, we're going to talk about that in another strategy. Let me tell you how to keep a man interested. And yeah, I already know, some people, they probably saw the flyer earlier, they saw the post earlier, like all of these different things. We can do the whole, oh, well, he'll know. And I'm like, I mean, if I'm his wife, I don't have to go through all that. If he's serious about getting to know, if he really wants me and blah, 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 like I get all of that. And you're entitled to feel that way, but no, just no, sis, that's not how it works. And I've determined that there are, in fact, ways, or should I say strategies, Miss New Love Strategist, ha ha ha, in order to keep him interested, in order to get his or keep his attention. So 5 strategies very quickly. I think it's quick. I don't even know. That I want to tell you on keeping his attention once you get it. He saw you out and about, whether it was an online dating site, whether it was at your job, whether it was at the grocery store, whether you was at a friend's party. I don't know. But he saw what he wanted. He saw something that at least he thought he wanted. He likes you and whatever else. And now he's, wanting to get to know you. Y'all have exchanged numbers. Y'all have been communicating. And before you fall into some of your previous traps, that maybe you didn't even realize were traps and things that were actually hindering you and getting in your way, I want you to hold on to these 5 things, these 5 strategies, all right? Strategy number 1 would be, in order to keep him interested and to keep his attention, I need you to play it cool. Play it cool. I literally have a course via the Arsenal, with New Thing Life Coaching. that is called Playing It Cool. Like it's a 5-day crash course on how to help women learn how to chill a little bit, because again, a man gives us a little bit of attention and it's like we start doing the most. Like we just start fanning out. Like we start acting like, like we're going crazy. And it's like, oh my God, da, da, da. Like we just start going all over the place. And I've spoken about emotional drivers before. And I know I even did a video. I don't know if I did it here on Instagram, but I know I did it in the group maybe several months ago, but talking about how our emotional drivers end up driving men away. We have these, I think it's like 7 different emotional drivers. And depending on what your predominant or your leading one is, your primary one, it affects everything. Like our emotional drivers are what lead to our decision making, our decision making and our responses with many different things. Well, for some of you, your need for a relationship, that can stem from the driver's belonging or even security. But it's like your need for a relationship, it causes you to get a little bit anxious when you end up meeting someone. It causes you to get a little bit anxious early, early on with dating and in those early stages. I'm always talking about the 5 different stages. And, stage 2 is casually dating, stage 3 is romantic friends. So if your emotional driver is either belonging, and wanting to feel needed, or if yours is security, which also can mean like belonging is one thing. Security is like, hey, I need to know where we stand. I need title. I don't care about bond. I need title. I need to know we are committed. I need to know we are in this. That gives me a level of security. Then I can let my guard down, blah, 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 blah. When you have one of those as your drivers, it can cause you to feel like you literally need a relationship. And therefore, in the stages of casually dating or romantic friends, you will find yourself, again, getting anxious, being a little bit pushy, refraining from playing it cool because you're too busy focusing on where is this going, what's going on, like the whole 9. And in this case, you tend to rush things. You tend to push for a title. You tend to demand certain things. You tend to bring up commitment. You might find yourself literally planning trips kind of early, creating vision boards based on you and him, the whole 9. This is not playing it cool, sis. This is not playing it cool at all. This is one of the main things that I teach because I've seen how failure to do so, how failure to play cool can and will and do. Yes, I said do, but it does run men off. And you don't want this to happen. This can show up in the forms of interviewing men in early stages and those first few dates. Again, you screen, yes. Vet, yes. All that other good stuff. Some of you are just straight interviewing these men. I need to know blip, 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 blip. I need to know it now before I waste my time. Like, I spoke about investment in time in the podcast on yesterday or Wednesday. And then again, I also went live in the group last Friday. Please check that out when I talked about, if online dating is annoying you. And I gave those 2 strategies and 1 word that will drastically, and I stand by that, drastically change your online dating experience. And truthfully, you can use that 1 word that I gave that will help you just with dating in general. Okay. So a lot of times we end up, because of, I don't want to waste my time, we end up interviewing. We go hard with the whole collecting data thing. We'll end up allowing like eagerness to get in the way. We put out early disclaimers, disclosures that don't even need to be mentioned, all of this. I was online earlier and I saw a woman, she posted, where a man had reached out to her on a dating app. And her second message, he sent one message, she sent one back, then he sent another message. Her second message was what she's looking for, what she wants, what she won't do, what she expects, what she needs, if this is going to be a problem for you, da 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 da. And dude was like, yeah, this is a problem for me. Deuces. Like, it was way too much and it was so unnecessary. And we have to be mindful of that. Okay. So I have things to help if you struggle with playing it cool. All right. But you will keep a man interested if you learn to literally play it cool, where it's like, hey, I get that he's a prize too, but hey, I'm a prize. I'm a good thing. I'm a good woman. I know I'm worthy of love. I know what's going to happen for me. I know I'm going to experience a real relationship one day. I know that I'm going to get married one day. I don't have to trip. This is just one man. Either it's going to work or it doesn't. So when you're not tripping over him, he's looking like, okay. And of course, like men, they want to be wanted and needed, right? So I'm not saying act like you don't need him. And even if you really like, dang, this boy is fine. Ooh, me, I want to be with him. Like, even if you keep those things internally, I don't care if you message me those things, that's one thing. But of course, with him, it's just kind of like you're just playing it cool. You're just treating, again, I'm not saying treat him like he's average and basic, but it's like, oh, hey, it's nice talking to you. Oh, yeah, of course, it's always nice to see you again. Definitely stroke the ego a little bit, but you got to do all that while still playing it cool. There's like a perfect way to balance both of those things, all right? Strategy number 2, pace. One of my ladies, I forgot, one of you commented that on one of my posts the other day saying, like, I'm finally learning how to pace. And that makes me so excited. For one, when I know that you all are listening, like when you're, saying like, hey, I know that she can help and I want to, change up some of the things that I'm doing. But especially when y'all come to me and like mention like the stuff that I use in my coaching business, like my acronyms, my stupid words and things like that. I'm like, okay, this is a lady who is serious about changing her love life and changing her love language and changing her dating language. But she was like, look, like I'm finally learning to pace. And I was like, oh, I love her. She's awesome. So when I say pace, typically what I mean is pause and control your expectations. Now, when some of my clients are kind of like going a little cuckoo as far as emotions, then I say pause and control your emotions. But truth be told, pause and control your expectations because your expectations are what drive your emotions. Okay. Literally pause. Dude likes you. Y'all exchange numbers. He already saw something that he was attracted to and interested in. Pause. Because what happens a lot of time is like, here you go again, building a fantasy, designing a wedding, expecting the most, even as far as like how often he should be doing this and, when and how he should be communicating, like all of these different things. And then you end up taking those expectations to him. I've done this. It doesn't work. That's why I can speak on it. Okay. Let me just put that out there. Like, obviously, dude was feeling me. I'll say dudes were feeling me because I've repeated this more than once. But they were feeling me. They were showing that they were interested. It was casual, getting to know each other. And you can tell romantically, the feelings were there, barely in an actual relationship. And I'm already asking him like all of these different questions like, hey, so just out of curiosity, just in case this goes, what do you like to keep your temperature on at night? Are you okay with sleeping with the ceiling fan? Do you put your ketchup in the refrigerator? Where do you keep your hot sauce? Like, hey, do you want to go like on a weekend getaway? Like, hey, would you ever be okay with Hey, do you have a passport? Like, hey, do you see yourself having more kids one day? Do you think you would be someone who'd be like good at being a good pet dad? Like, how would you be with pets? Asking all of these things. I mean, literally asking these things early. And I don't mean casual conversations. It was evident that I was like already putting this man in my future, literally planning our lives together. All right. And it's understanding that based on what a man does or says, based on how he answers, if it rejected my expectations, then my emotions led to me flying off the handle. My emotions would maybe have me telling him, see, I don't got time for this. Like you just like the rest of them. See, like, hey, I'm not down for the games. Like if you don't see this going nowhere, and that I mean you act like this is gonna be a problem. Like really just because my little feelings were stung and probably hurt because they did not respond the way I wanted them to. We have this thing where we'll do certain things, we'll say certain things, we'll present certain scenarios, and sometimes they really don't even exist. We'll make up something to say just because we want to see how a man is going to react, just to validate us, make us feel important, make us feel special, and really assure us where we really stand with this man, trying to figure out if they see us in their future the way we've already planned on them being in ours. Literally, take the time to pause and control. Pause and control. Y'all, a lot of times, and I say we, but I've gotten better with this, but we always say, oh, I can't help it, or well, I always end up, or or this is the way that I am, or well, I don't know why that I do this. I don't know why I do that. Truthfully, when you say things like that, we are Christian women at the end of the day. So when things like that come out of your mouth, what it means is that you have not allowed the Holy Spirit to produce the fruit of self-control in you. Galatians 5:23. When you're talking like, I can't help it, I always do this, this is the way I am, you're not allowing the Holy Spirit to produce self-control. You can say what you will and won't do in your next relationship, right? You can create the boundaries that I taught in the simplicity class. You can write the vision that I had a lot of you do in the Before Bay workshop. You can do all of that. But if you have not yet mastered self control, none of these things matter. Simply put, all of those things, all of your boundaries go out the window. Your list goes out the window. You writing the vision goes out the window. None of those things matter if you have not even yet mastered and developed and allowed God to produce self control within you. And sometimes it's like we don't know how to play it cool. And sometimes we don't know how to pace when a man shows us a little bit of interest, self control. And what I will tell you is that without self control, this is when you will start double texting. Oh my God, well, he didn't respond to my message from earlier. Okay, well, I mean, he could have at least said, okay, he could have at least thumbed. I mean, he didn't say nothing. I mean, I didn't hear from him all day. I didn't hear from him until the next morning. You'll end up double texting. You'll end up sending long text messages. You will write him off because she's 3 minutes late calling you. You'll get mad if he doesn't do what you wanted, and it'll end up scaring him off. I told y'all this before. That dude from 2017, who I still kind of, give credit to me, doing coaching and ministry because of that heartache and pain. When I hid my abstinence from him, initially, it began causing some issues, the whole abstinence and whatever else, and me telling him like, hey, like I'm not having sex. I know I should have told you that, whatever. He pulled back a little bit. And when he pulled back a little bit, it caused me to latch on a little bit more. And hold that. I promise I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to talk about this more in strategy number 5. Hold that thought, okay? Strategy number 3, be you. Be you. Y'all know my favorite question I'm always like talking about asking, who are you? Can you answer who you are without the labels and the titles and the hows? Who are you to your core, that person that shows up with everything? You have to be you. No auditioning, because you don't have to pretend and audition when you know who you are. You don't have to perform when you know who you are. You don't have to do the most when you know, not only know who you are, but you accept who you are, you love who you are, you respect who you are. When you have a sense of self-awareness and good self-esteem, you can show up with that man authentic, you can show up confident, and you show up assured. And now, based off of you doing that, now he's captivated. He's intrigued. Like he went on some external physical things to initially, that initially caused him to be interested in you. But now he's like, okay, look, this woman knows who she is. This woman is confident in who she is. This woman, she's a show, like she is authentic. I can tell that she's genuine. I can tell that this is who she truly really is. He's captivated. He's intrigued. He can tell that you're a gem. He knows that you are like nothing or no woman that he has ever experienced before. And what I will tell you is that naturally, I'm always talking about those selfie issues, right? Self-esteem, self-worth, self-love, self-acceptance, self-respect. All of those things will overall produce an alarming feeling, like an overwhelming amount of like self-confidence, not cocky, not egotistical, none of those different things. But now those things are going to produce self-confidence. And your confidence is going to lead you to play it cool and pause and control your expectations. It leads to picking and pacing, and he can dig that. Like a man is going to love that, because now you're going to be a breath of fresh air. Now, like you're not someone who's rushing like the other women that he's dated before. Now he's realizing, like, yeah, like sister's a little bit different. Well, not sis, I don't think they still say shorty, but like, hey, this woman is different. I've not come across a woman like her before, and I want to get to know her. And here, something else, I've said this before, and I will say it again. You've got to stop thinking about men, what men want, what men need, and blah, 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 blah. I need you to think about your man. I need you to think about the kind of man that you want to man. I'm not saying, someone who you've idolized as far as he's going to be exactly like this, and I already know I need a man who's going to be whatever. No, because some women just kind of, go off the deep end. But think about where you want your man to be spiritually, emotionally, and mentally. Those are the things that make up the inner man, right? If you know that you want a mild-mannered man, right? If you know that you want one who is not with the games, and you know that you want one who is not with the foolery, I need you to think of how he's going to respond? How would that kind of man respond to your overreacting? How would he respond to your hypersensitivity? How would he respond to your eagerness? How would he expand? How would he respond to your rushing? How would he respond to your lack of self-control? How would he respond to you not doing well, with all of these expectations and all these things that you're wanting from him, and you're always nagging about this and nagging about that? I'm calling her out. My best friend, when we were on the phone the other day, Amanda's married, and I forgot what it was that we were, I love when we can have those moments where it's just like, look, I feel like I'm a sucky person today. Like, I feel like I'm sucking at being a mom today. I'm sucking at this. And, of course, it's like, that's our little way of, joking and just kind of winding down. It's like pouring our emotions on each other. And of course, we encourage each other. There's scriptures, there's some type of revelation. We get back up and it's like, okay, boom. And she was just talking like some of the things as far as like her being a wife. She's like, I don't want to always be getting on him about this and getting on him about that and doing this. And I'm always nagging about, and I don't want to nag. I was like, and it's funny you mentioned the word nagging, because that is something that I've spoken about before as well. And I always remind ladies that there are 4 scriptures in the book of Proverbs that talks about a nagging wife. So it's like we have all of these expectations. We nag a lot even while single and dating. We nag before even becoming a girlfriend. Like, you're not going to cut that off once you become a wife. No, now you're going to turn that, or you're going to take that into your marriage, and now you're going to be a nagging wife, when we got Proverbs over here giving all of these different counts of it is better to be, listening to a leaking roof, than to deal with the nagging wife. A nagging wife is like cancer in the bones. Like, all of these different things it says about a woman who nags. Men do not like to be nagged and hounded. Well, I thought you were going to do this. Well, I was expecting this. I mean, well, you said you were going to do this. I mean, yeah, but this is like the second time now that you've done this. Listen, have your standards, have your boundaries. Don't let anyone play over you. I'm not saying that at all. Okay. But there's a fine line between that. And it's like, we also have to learn how to extend a little bit of grace, because some of us do the absolute most when it comes to certain things. And one thing that I can say, at least for me, that God had to check me on when I'm always talking about, I want to love, and I want to, be in love, and I want to be loved, and all this other stuff. God was reminding me what First Corinthians says about love. And it's like, hey, love keeps no record of wrong. And that is something that I have been awful with. And I'm going to be so honest with y'all when I tell y'all awful. I mean, whatever guy I was dating at the time, almost all of those men, somewhere there was a note in this phone that had their name, their nickname, or their initials. And it literally, this is so bad to admit, but it literally had every promise they broke. Never nothing major. They didn't say, oh, I'm going to, fly you out to Paris and take you out it was like, oh, okay, well, he said that one weekend in July we were going to go to DC. He had also said that he was going to take me to that amusement park. That has not happened yet. Now, mind you, maybe we've been going out every weekend, or maybe he's already taken me on 3 dates in a week, all of these other things. Maybe he, randomly sent me money just so I didn't have to spend my own money for groceries. I was like, hey, I know you're tired tonight, so just randomly sending me money so that I can order something to eat for the kids instead of having to cook. Whether it was getting off work and coming and installing something or doing something with my kids or whatever else. But I would still keep that list going of all the other things. And God was like, hey, you're thinking of all the things that they did wrong? Really? Love does not do that. So we do have to learn to offer a little bit of grace, okay? And we have to just really back up when it comes to nagging about a lot of things. Like we have to stop as far as all of that is concerned. So show up as you and be mindful of the man that you want, because you need to step forward and out with both of you in mind, sis. Like, it's saying, hey, this is the kind of woman I am. This is the kind of man that I want. And as I'm out here, dating and whatever else, I have to represent both of us even now. Like, and one thing that I always say, like, I'm going to honor my future husband even now. I'm going to do certain things with him in mind. No, not to the point where I'm idolizing and letting it, control every single thing. But at the same time, I pray that my future husband is making good decisions right now. I pray that he is, taking care of his health and his wealth and, emotions and whatever else. I pray that he is making good decisions when it comes to friends, like all of these things, because those are things that they're going to affect us both when we end up getting married. So that's just kind of that. Strategy number 4. Okay, so let's go back. Number 1, play it cool. Strategy number 2, pace. Okay, strategy number 3, be you. Just be yourself, and that is enough to keep him interested. Okay, strategy number 4, don't lose yourself. Don't lose yourself, which is impossible when you know yourself and you can be yourself, right? Like I talk about those 5 stages, in the natural progression of a romantic relationship. There are also 6 stages of intimacy that I speak about. And with each stage, I always say, think about it as like an outer circle, right? So stage number 1 is the outer circle. So on the outside, you start with a stranger. You don't know this person, still a stranger. So it's still kind of taking in the 5 stages of, the natural progression of relationship. Stage 1, stranger. You don't really know him. Coming a little bit closer. Stage 5, now you're casually dating. I'm sorry, stage 5. Stage 2, now you're casually dating. Coming a little bit closer. Stage 3, or should I say circle 3, romantic friends. Come a little bit closer. Stage 4, that's deep intimacy in the form of a lifelong partner. Stage 5, now it's like, of course, or say committed relationship, and then whatever, y'all get what I'm going. But all along, he is getting closer to you. That is what that 6th circle is. That's real, or you could say it's the first one, and then everything else is building out. But that innermost circle, when it comes to intimacy, that is you. There is no greater intimacy than you all alone by yourself. We know that intimacy breaks down to into me see. That's you, your mind, your body, your soul, your spirit. And there are some things that you need to keep to yourself. I don't care how interested he is, because he is not earned, nor does he deserve all access to you. You have to keep some things a mystery, sis. And again, this is something that will also keep a man interested, because you're not out divulging all of this information, like I was saying early on. Like we do this a lot of times. Well, a lot of you do this when it comes to online dating or dating in general. You want to make sure he knows everything, because some of us, what we are doing is you're subconsciously hoping that you're going to tell him all of these things. He's going to realize how awesome and how amazing you are, and it's going to make him want you instantaneously. Oh yeah, and I do this and I do. Oh yeah, and I sometimes. Oh yeah, some people make it's really not that big of a deal. People say that I can sing. I don't really see myself as being a singer. I don't know. Cooking just comes natural to me. I'm a great mom. I've just always known that I was supposed to have kids. Like we have all of these different things that we do, and it's like, but we just divulge all of this information, and it's like this is what also takes the fun out of dating. We don't even allow someone to get a chance to know us, to learn us, because we're so anxious to put it all out there in hopes of being, again, hopes that we'll end up in a relationship, and we'll put everything out. Keep some things a mystery. Let him get to know. I'm not saying be all guarded and cray, but I'm just saying keep some things a mystery, because now he's like, man, like she is such a beautiful person inside, and I can tell that there's so much more to her. And I know that I've barely scratched the surface, because that's what keeps him coming back for more. Now he wants to know you. He wants to know more. Like now he's captivated. He's intrigued. He is interested. Let him earn your attention. Let him earn your secrets. Let him earn information about you. Got it? Number 5. Strategy number 5. Okay. This is the most important. Though you have to get through the others, okay? You got to go through strategies number 1, 2, 3, 4. Strategy number 5, most important. I will stand by this. Let him breathe. Let him breathe. This is how you will keep a man interested. You got to let the man breathe, okay? So picking up where I left off earlier, the dude from 2017. I said, I had not told him I was abstinent. We were struggling when it finally came to, okay, oh, I'm in love with you. Okay, well, I'm falling in love with you too. Oh, wait, well, now that means we can't actually have sex. Da, 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 da. So we were struggling when it came to not having sex. And it caused things to, kind of, slow down or whatever a little bit. But looking back at it after the fact, I can see that he was considering it. I can tell that for him, it was like he was in that place of, okay, so I can't have sex. I think I can do this. Like, I already see what's going on here, because God was showing him who I could be to him. I knew, and this is why I always say there's no such thing as the one. The one is whoever you choose. God will allow us a lot of times to cross paths, but sometimes it's just to see, hey, what wisdom are you going to use in this situation? Are you going to realize what I'm putting in front of you? Or have you finally learned, like, do you see, like, hey, this is not good for you? You should have spent enough time in my presence to know that this is not it. So sometimes people drop the ball and get it wrong. So it's like God is not going to put that much on us where it's like we're literally supposed to know when it's that one person. So here I knew that God was doing some things, but I think both of us were also in a kind of whatever place. Now, God had told me to keep praying for him. I didn't. Who knows what would have happened? But of course, at this point, like, he's married now, like, it is what it is at this point. So God was showing him who I could be to him. God was also showing me what we could be to each other and why he also wanted me to stay put. Now, no, God never said this is your husband. But at the same time, it's like you can just tell, sense, and feel whatever. And while he was having these things revealed to him as well, he was getting terrified. And I didn't know, of course, again, looking back now, there were certain things that he would sometimes reveal to me, and I didn't know where it was coming from. But unknowingly, unbeknownst to me, he was revealing certain things to me about conversations that him and God were having. I don't even know if he knew that it was God that was even talking to him. But it's like some of the things that he was bringing up. So he was getting a little bit terrified because, and I remember one time he'd even said, you ask for something, you want something, especially when it comes to a wife. He's like, and then now, like, it's right here in my face. And I'm just like, oh crap, am I ready for this? And of course, for me, it was kind of like, oh, okay, so you already know. Okay, well, see, I'm awesome. You should pick me. Come on, be with me. But for him, it was like, oh crap, like, this is it. This is what I've been wanting all along. So I could feel him pulling back a little bit. And him pulling back, now I'm terrified, because that's what abandonment issues will do. It's like when you feel someone pulling, it's like, oh crap, somebody else is about to leave me all over again. What the heck is going on? So that started to bother me. And what you have to understand, and I know that some of you, you haven't experienced exactly what I've gone through in this situation, but you have experienced a man pulling away. And again, sometimes it's kind of like, what's going on? What the heck? Like, I thought everything was good. Like, we were, I say hot and heavy, but I just mean like we were really feeling each other. We were going on dates. We were communicating. We were talking. First of all, things are always amazing in the beginning. I don't know why we always forget that. The honeymoon stage does not only apply to marriages. Like, sometimes we just have that little honeymoon stage. So it's understanding men pulling away, that is natural, it's normal, and it's necessary. Yes, when dating. It's like that's when you would want it to happen, because that means like you're processing and whatever else. Like, I wouldn't want my boyfriend or fiance, significant other, my husband, I wouldn't want them to pull away. But a man who is dating and is kind of like, okay, I'm feeling her, or man, I'm really feeling her. Okay, could this actually be the person that I'm going to end up choosing and marrying? Men pulling away, it's natural, it's normal, and it's necessary. Men drift away a little bit as they process. And of course, our reaction is to now pull closer. It's like, whoa, where are you going? Like, come back here. And sometimes, they'll go to different things, whether, hobbies, friends, whatever else. Because a lot of men, not all, a lot of men do not like feeling vulnerable. I've talked about this before. Their cycle, in a sense, is to kind of like bounce from distant to close. So it's like 1 minute a man can be like all in, and then it's like, oh, this drives us crazy. And again, I'm not putting whatever on any of you necessarily, but I know a lot of you, and especially, in this group and those who have worked with me and, conversations and clients and whatever else. I've said before, I know that well over 95% of my client base has abandonment issues. So for someone who is like, someone's in and then they start to pull away a little bit, for someone with abandonment issues, it's like, oh my God, like what is going on? Like that really pushes our buttons and we don't really understand. We think that we're being left again. But when it happens, you have to be patient. And this is what keeps him interested. You have to be patient and you have to allow him to work through his feelings. I always say, let him breathe, but it's like literally allow a man to recharge. Like, y'all, love is a powerful thing. And again, I know that we think that all men play games, but obviously you don't think that about all men because you still have hope that there's a great man out there for you in order for you to experience this love, that you've been wanting to experience for some time now, the love that you've been praying for, the marriage that you've been praying for. So it's understanding that a lot of times, like, love is something that is so powerful. And when I say draining, I don't mean draining as in like, like toxic and unhealthy, but it can be draining is not the right word, but just, something so powerful, it can take a lot. So sometimes when you're experiencing the feelings and whatever else, you have to allow him to recharge. You have to allow him to process some of these things. You have to allow him to back up because for those who have truly been in love before, it's one of those like, whew, this is heavy. Like, I don't know about y'all, but I hope Ashley is not watching this because Ashley was laughing at me a couple of weeks ago. I had a situation just a couple of weeks ago, literally. I hope Amanda's not watching this either. Um, where I was like literally crying. Like, I was like, why do I feel like I don't know, like why I'm crying? Like, I got so much going on, like it. But it was literally me crying because I'm just like crying just from being so in love. And I'm just because sometimes when it's real love, it is it's powerful. It's powerful when it's something so real and it's almost like it can be a little overwhelming. So, and especially for a man who does not really like to be vulnerable, they'll pull back. And that's okay. Like, do you really want to be like number one on his mind all the time? Like, that's a little bit creepy and clingy and overbearing and abnormal and obsessive. And I'm always talking about like the generations and pathology and all that other good stuff. Like I realize like a lot of women are no longer educating their daughters about how men work. But I think because a lot of women don't know, like, and that's why I took the time to really, really study this. Like, I don't want to just be a dating coach. Like, I want to be effective at my job. So, taking the time to do the classes and whatever else, and so much that I'm about to pour into New Heart Academy to really like help women as far as all of these things are concerned. But a lot of women are no longer educating their daughters about how men work. And again, a lot of women don't know. And then it's like men, we had a lot of men today that we're out here trying, well, I'm not trying to date nobody right now, I'm in love, but men out here who aren't getting things from their absent fathers. We just got broken chain after broken chain, trying to chain up and make actual connections. And it's like men are out here thinking about empire building, like all of these things, like they're more real men, the kind of men that we want. And it's like, and that's why like we get so whatever about inconsistent men. It's like we cry over the ones who are not serious anyway. And then the ones is like, oh, he's a good man, but he works a lot, or oh, he's a great man, but he this or da 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 da. A lot of these men that we want who are legacy builders, they are thinking about building an empire. They are already thinking about their future wife and their future children and whatever else. That is how men are wired. That is how they like it's ingrained in them. Your job, yes, even when dating, it may or may not go anywhere. And what? Don't change up who you are and the kind of woman you are and the kind of wife that you are going to be based off of his actions. If someone is disrespecting you or leading you on, cut it off and let that be that. But at the end of the day, your job, when you have this man who has already shown interest, your job is to create a desire in him to pull you back to him. You want to create that desire inside of him where he wants to pull you right back. Like y'all, you want to have that connection. Instead of trying to reel him back in if he's pulling away, again, you want to create the desire. But instead of trying to reel him back, just be there. Just chill. And it's like, hey, okay, I don't know what's going on, but just be there. Avoid nonsense, avoid sarcasm, avoid attitude, avoid long texts, avoid the knee-jerk behaviors. Don't chase after him. Don't try to figure out why. Don't start asking what's wrong, and you start getting naggy and pushing for a response. Don't start, being heavy on the calls, emails, text messages, showing up unannounced. I did that with dude. That scared him even more because I literally was not allowing him to breathe. And I've said before, men need freedom. And he had even told me, like, even after he found out the sex was off the table, it was like, look, I really like you. Now you're scaring me a bit. I was like, oh no, that wasn't what they need to breathe. Let him breathe. Okay. Men need freedom. And if it doesn't come as a choice for him, then it's not going to happen. And ask yourself, like, do you really want to be with someone who they're not there by choice? Like, why pull someone and why want someone who came by force? We're not doing that. So if you're realizing, like, hey, I really want to keep him interested, open communication. Saying, hey, like, he's open communication. You can always, like, say, hey, he's pulling back a little bit. Someone's like, open communication. Absolutely. Communicate your feelings effectively. The 6 C's of communication that I speak about. I went in depth with that as well in simplicity. But there are 6 C's of communication. A lot of us, we communicate. Well, I told him I feel about this. I told him my thoughts on this. Well, I express my boundaries, da 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 da. There are different parts to communication. And like I said, I'll give you one of them, comprehension. You can communicate all day, but if you are not communicating in a way that your partner comprehends, then your communication is not effective. Boom. So there are all of these different aspects to communication that we also have to factor in, even when it comes to dating. He pulled back a little bit, and now you're stung. Don't tell him how it hurt you just so that he can know how you feel, because chances are he's not going to get it. Because for him, it's like, oh, okay, I didn't real. Know how to express your feelings without blame, shame, revenge. Oh, well, he do that. Well, let me show him I can play that game too. Grow up. We're not being childish. Like, come on, this is what I'm about to do. New Heart Academy. Like, I can do New Love Language, and we got simplicity and whatever. New Heart Academy is like completely different level, like completely 12 sector program where it's like, hey, your heart is now what's interfering with your dating life. Like, you can go through all of, again, you can watch the webinars, you can do all of this stuff, but until you really tended with the heart, nothing's going to change. So like with certain things, we need to grow up with the way that we are acting, and then it's like still complaining about being single. So don't attack with questions that alienate him, again, because like I said, most of these men, I did a blog on it on the site. A lot of times when men pull back, they already know that they're coming back. They're not really trying to disappear. And I know women don't want to hear that. So it's like you don't want to attack him with questions, especially those that kind of like um, attack and assault, like, and alienate him and whatever else. Was like, where have you been? Why did you disappear? Why didn't you call? Why did you do that to me? Those are accusations, and a lot of those accusations stem from insecurities, abandonment, and emotional drivers. Okay, you want to understand that attacking and accusations, they destroy his positive feelings. And we want a man who is positive, because if he's positive, he treats us positive, and now we positive and we glow, and we just got one big old positivity partnership going on here. Your average man is going to avoid anything that is a source of negative feelings. He is going to avoid anything that is a source of negative feelings. I can be a little animated, but that's just my personality, and I'm still kind of childish sometimes. Like I dance with my rabbits, and I like to do funky stuff as far as like what my kids are concerned. Um, so sometimes for me, when I gotta, kind of have a certain somebody letting me know, like, hey, just chill out, just chill. And sometimes I'm just like, oh, well, I was trying to explain to you that da 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 da. He's like, we're not doing that. No drama, no negativity. We'll just leave it all alone. No negative feeling. Yes, when dating and when he's interested, he may pull back at some point. Know that this is normal. Know that this is to be expected. Okay. And when you play it cool and when you control your emotions, it works out wonderfully. Now, let me say this, because I know some of you believe that it's childish. You believe that it's immature. You believe that no one has time for that. Like, a lot of you spend so much time wanting a good man, praying for a good man, determined to get a good man, but you want to control like how they respond to you and how they communicate with you and what they can and can't do and what and how things should be done, like all of these things. And it's like the minute that that man goes outside of the fantasy that you created, he goes outside of your desire and outside of the plan that you've created, you panic. And now your panic leads to you what? There's now no self control. You no longer play it cool. You fail to pace. You stop being yourself, the woman that he actually took a liking to. And then for him, it's like, who is this? Now, can I be honest again? I had two men tell me that before. Because when things were not, again, wanting a good man, praying for a good man, determined to get one, all of these different things, the minute that he deviated a little bit unknowingly from my plan, my fantasy, my desire, I panicked because now I'm pissed because now you're just destroying my love story. What is going on here? And the way that I would then, all self control would go out the window, all pacing went out the window, playing it cool went out the window. Here comes, Vicky the tongue lasher. And for them, it was like, who is this? And I had one guy tell me straight up, like, look, I dealt with the woman before and she like really flipped the script like after we got married. And this guy, like, he was talking about like marriage with me and everything. But he was like, yeah, she flipped and you're starting to scare me. Like I love you. He was like, but you're, and I'm like, oh dang. Yes, I ruined that one. But just chill out. And again, yeah, we're talking about dating. I get that. We are talking about dating. But do you realize how scary some of your behaviors can be so early on? Like, it's one thing to be married for years and to know they're crazy. But to see certain things early, there are things that men deem as being red flags, ladies. Let me just go ahead and say that. Let me tell you that because I know we make everything about red flags, which a lot of them aren't even red flags. They're just nonsense and insecurities and whatever else. There are a lot of things that men see as being, I talk to a lot of men and they'll tell me like, and it's funny, but I love the fact that men respect me and what I do because I've had men who will come in my inbox and it's like, hey, I love the fact that they respect my time, hustle, and business. It's like, hey, sis, can I, pay to talk to you? Like, can I just get like once? I do that sometimes for men because I'm not a coach for men, but again, hey, I got kids to feed. They're like, hey, can I pay you to talk to you for like a couple of hours? Because they're just really trying to get insight, whether it's on women in general, whether it's about a particular woman, a particular situation, or maybe trying to figure out like what they're doing wrong, whatever the case might be. But there are men who will come and tell me like, yeah, like sis was doing this, and I really am I tripping? That kind of seems like a red flag. And I know that you work with women, so what do you think about this? And I would always be like, yeah, I can tell you right now that she's dealing with XYZ. This is what her issue is. This is what her problem is. Like, be mindful. Like, back up. So I don't know. Let me just close with this. If a man pulls back or leaves, there are a couple of different things going on. He might not be into you. That's okay. There may be another woman that he chose and he was maybe seeing both of y'all at the same time, or maybe she was a little bit further along. He chose her instead. That's okay. He may just need a breather and time. And sis, guess what? That's okay. Not everything is a man playing games. Not everything is a man being inconsistent. Not everything is about a man seeing someone else. More and more, I'm coming across a lot of men who are like, look, some of y'all got enough personality in and of itself. I don't have time dating two of you. This will sound foreign, but I stick beside this. When a man returns, because he just needed that breather, express positive feelings when he returns. And I don't mean positive as, oh, like, yeah, you came back, like, oh my God, da, 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 like that. Oh my God, like I thought that I was never going to talk to you again. No, just make him feel wanted without doing the most, oh, hey, how's it going? Hey, well, how are you? Oh, what have you been up to? No sarcasm, no foolishness, no. Show him that you are in control of your emotions. We a lot of times talk about wanting to be that safe space and providing a safe space. Men want a safe space. You have to show that you can do that, because what scares a lot of men is we'll come off that way, and then they'll kind of confide in us. They'll become a little bit vulnerable. And then what happens? Something happens where somehow the desire, the fantasy, or whatever gets destroyed. We lose self control. We no longer play it cool. We panic. We no longer pace, and then we flip on him, and then sometimes we flip on them with the same information that they entrusted us with. We use that against them, showing that we are no longer in control of our emotions, and now they don't trust our emotions, and they don't trust that we actually have their back. You have to show him that you are in control of your emotions. So it might be a little minute and he reaches back out after pulling back up, and I'm not talking about disappearing for like no months at a time. I'm not talking about that foolishness. um but he might pop back up and be like, hey, what's been going on? Da 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 da. And I'm not talking about zombieing or any of that foolishness either. But there's no need for the, oh, well, look who it is. Oh, hey, stranger. Oh, let me guess. The last girl dumped you, and now you're trying to see if I'm still stupid. And I've seen some women like, okay, let me tell you the kind of woman that I'm not. Let me just go ahead and put that out here right now. I know you want him to know it's you. You want him to be serious from day one. That's not realistic. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's not realistic. Even a man who is serious about finding a woman may not know that he is serious weeks in or in early stages. He might not. But what your job is to show him that you understand what he needs, and that you can let him have it without ruining your day or world. Saying like, hey, I see that this is what you need. I'm gonna let you have that. I can let you, and it's not gonna ruin me. It's not gonna kill me. Like, I can make sure he needs to know that he can feel safe being his real self, and that he can be vulnerable. This will keep him interested. Listen, even this video, I don't even know how long I've been talking now, but even just on strategy number 5 alone, like, I went in on this in the understanding men lesson in simplicity. Like, I went in. And that's why I've kept saying, like, I know that that was probably like one of the most important lessons that I've ever taught, just on understanding men, that will help women when it comes to dating. And I know that this right here is going to help a lot as well. But again, learning how to keep them interested, learning how to online date and whatever, understanding men, all that stuff is cool. But then sometimes it's like there are things that are like bubbling up inside of us where it's like, oh my God, but I really want to send this sex. I really want to do this, but I don't understand this. Da 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 da. Those are our heart issues. And that's why I knew this, like, New Heart Academy is probably going to be like one of the final things that I end up releasing, or like that mega thing that I'll end up creating for New Thing Life Coaching, because now I'm realizing, okay, like, yeah, some of them are getting a lot of the information as far as online dating and whatever else, but then some things end up getting ruined because there are some other things that were not yet addressed. So these 5 strategies, these things will help you when it comes to keeping a man interested once you've scoped out the fact that he is a man worth keeping around. Okay, like, obviously we're not doing this for any and every man, only the ones that you can see something there and you want to see where it can go. Then keep these strategies in mind, because sometimes we end up ruining things. Sometimes you end up ruining things when you notice that he's a good man and then you panic about possibly losing him. And if you want a man who you're interested in and you know that he's a good man, if you want him to think about, something long term, and especially marriage when it comes to you, then he needs to see a happy, positive, powerful, and fun future with you. Bottom line. Because when a man feels good around you, he's going to want to be around you. Period. When a man feels good around you, he's going to want to be around you. Okay. And that's just that. That's what I need to say. Listen, you can still grab Simplicity 25% off using code Portia, Porsha, at bit.ly/NTLC Simplicity. The Playing It Cool crash course is also available on the site as a standalone course. I think that's like $29. But yeah, connect. Go to newthinglifecoaching.com. Follow on Instagram if you're not already. Come into the SASH tribe if you're not already. New Thing Life Coaching is on Facebook. I post there sometimes, but whatever. And then, of course, Twitter at New Thing, New Love. I don't even know. They didn't let me pick the name I wanted because it was like too long. Whatever. I hope this was able to provide you some insight. I pray that you all have a fantastic, fantastic Friday. My apologies. I was not able to get to Sassy Saturday special last Saturday doing the what's it called? The message on hope. But I will be doing that tomorrow. I promise, promise, promise that will get uploaded tomorrow. Whether or not I do it live or what, I have no idea, but it